Chapter 18. This is what I was wearing the morning I was murdered. Grey sweatpants, fluffy on the inside with frayed ends, and elastic waist so I could wear them comfortably low on my hips. Powder blue Victoria's Secret briefs, cotton with a little heart, and pink VS on the front. The kind of underwear you buy in a set of 5 for $20. Everyday underwear, a black bra under a purple t-shirt, a purple parka, light and downy, like a quilt, purple jacket, purple t-shirt, blue cotton briefs, a plain black bra, and an old pair of sweats, and near-new sneakers, dirt caked from climbing down onto the rocks and the struggle. They found me in the bra and the t-shirt, catalogued me in the bra and the t-shirt, made an assessment of my social class, my occupation and my intentions that morning, based on my hair and my orange nails, and these few items of clothing he left behind. The missing clothes are in a backpack stored in a private locker in the basement gym of a building downtown. People, hundreds of them, walk past this locker every day. Some have even read about me following the Riverside Jane case. One or two went to the vigil that night, wondering who could do such a thing to a young woman. Looking askance at men on the subway whenever they travelled uptown, walking past that downtown locker twice, 5, 10 times a day. Sweats, blue underwear, a pair of sneakers and a jacket. The bloodstains are left behind, more like rust these days than a camera, a vintage Lisa. Film and summer lens missing, an object stolen twice in just a few weeks. Now wrapped in plastic inside a basement locker, code 0415. Every riddle has an answer, no matter how long it takes to solve. The answer was created at the exact same time as the question. This is what Detective O'Brien thinks, as he sounds out my real name for the very first time, starts putting the small facts of my life together with the help of Tammy's stories and the result of Gloria's D's DNA test. I thought she was with Tammy. My former guardian cries over and over as if this explains her carelessness. Alice Lee, O'Brien says, thinking about all the people who let me down. Who did this to you, kid? I thought my name would be enough, that my identity was the riddle they were all trying to solve, but for O'Brien, it is just the beginning. My name was only ever a clue. For him, the real puzzle is what happened down there by the river. At least it's me, the detective, directs the question. His next question too, as if I have a say in the matter. How do we find the bastard, Alice? What is it we're missing? Unlike O'Brien, Ruby generally tries not to think about him. Has stopped jumping at loud noises, making an effort to smile back when men say hello as she shops for snacks at the grocery store or purchases another bottle of vodka over on Broadway. She doesn't want to be the one looking askance at strangers, not in a city where she only needs the fingers of one hand to count the people she actually knows, but he hovers at the edge of her thoughts. All the same, casts his shadow, slips around the corners of her consciousness so that she always seems to catch the back of him disappearing. She tries not to think too much about him, but deep down Ruby knows she is as tied to my murder as she is to me, that something is unfinished between them, and sometimes she wonders what would happen if she followed him around those corners, if she came face to face with the man whose terrible crime she could discover. I'd admit now that O'Brien has put the idea in my head. This is something I have wondered too. Josh is the first member of Deaf Club to say my name. Alice Lee. Tongue against teeth, he sounds out the syllables, tries to draw me out from the scant details he has managed to uncover before they hit the news. My life makes for a small list on this day. I am officially identified. Small town girl from Midwest, parentless, no known occupation or address in New York. Nothing yet to help. Determined motive, nothing to suggest that what I was doing in the park alone that morning. But there is a name and a beginning. There is something. Riverside Jane is in fact Alice Lee. Alice. Josh looks at the photograph that will soon be shared with the public, sees a beautiful young girl with a blue sky eyes and a freckled dotted nose, tries and fails to reconcile this with what happened to me. It seems impossible, but then it's always unfathomable, isn't it? What we don't know of the future when a happy picture is taken. Josh got the tip from a friend at the Daily News. A woman he sat with once or twice after 9/11 when the whole city was shaking. They've identified the girl you're so interested in. She told him on the phone, some kid from Inconstant. I'll text you the photo they've sent out. Feel free to thank me over dinner sometime. But it's Ruby he asked to dinner that night. Fumbles with how to contextualize the question and ultimately settles for this. I have something to tell you about Jane. He doesn't want her to think it's a date. When she walks into the small Italian restaurant near the Consenter, heads to where he's sitting at the bar, he holds out his phone towards her as if it is a bunch of flowers. My smiling face fills the screen. It's Jane, gripping the bar stool offering to her. Ruby looks at me. She's the real me. For the very first time, she has imagined this moment for weeks now. The relief of discovering my identity. It doesn't feel like she thought it would. The pain suddenly has become unbearable. Jane. Alice. Ruby, my name is Alice Lee. When she says my name out loud for the first time and starts to cry, I want to reach out, tell her I've been here all this time, but I cannot make the world move in my direction, not even this tiny corner of it. Were that possible, I would tilt her right into my aching arms, knees slanting, coming closer. They are at another bar now, one of those secrets behind the wall and up the stairs, places that never stay secret for long. They share a small couch set behind velvet curtain, the only seating available at this hour. When they sat down, Ruby had a flash of the young couple she saw in that dive bar on the day she found my body. How the girl had her leg draped over the boy, and how pristine the love seemed, glistening in its newness, when she felt so very tired and afraid. It is possible. She wants that glistening for herself now. They have talked about me all night long, past that photograph of me between them, imagining a life, sculpting ideas around the few things they know, so that by the third Manhattan, my drink, they have crafted a dozen versions of me, the memory of cherries in my mouth. I whisper outlandish suggestions to help them. A long girlfriend of a mobster, here is on the run. They can't hear me over the clink of ice cubes, the jazz playing in the background, but I play sculpture just the same. And when Ruby tells Josh she wishes she had a chance to meet me, to know who I really was, I wish back just as hard. Over dinner, Josh admitted he had been investigating the Riverside murder, telling Ruby about the network of friends and industry contacts he's talked to about me, so that she imagines a map of people across the city, lines connecting pulsing dots all over town. He tells Ruby his interest is clinical, that it's a fantastic mystery to be solved. But I know the truth. This is his way to her. Ruby Jones, one of the few people to make him feel buoyant again. I see what happens when he looks at her now. After that night at Oyster Bar, I can see the bright blue lights that starts just below his ear, how it curves under his jaw, travels down his neck, and out into his chest, shooting off in all directions. He thinks there is darkness where desire used to be, but he has been looking in the wrong places. His longing resides somewhere deeper, a vivid blue, far below his dark thoughts. It's supposed to feel like this. I want to tell him. It's supposed to shake you out of that inertia you're hiding behind. I want to take my index finger and run it from his ear, down his neck and onto his chest. There I need both hands. I need all my fingers, spread like arteries or an explosion. And every place I touch, here, I say. There she is. There is the way she leans forward when she's listening to you. There is the constant glistening of her eyes. When something moves her, there is the curve of flesh under her cotton shirt, and the way she self-consciously pulls at the fabric, unaware that she pulls you into. If the linen could see all that light, the city maps down under the skin, they'll be awestruck, looking at Ruby and Josh right now. They'll see how nervousness and anticipation might seem the same on the surface, but they're so very different at the source. Nervousness is rushing water, river mouths, but anticipation is something far more delicate, little bubbles that go pop, one bright burst after another, until the body is a glass of champagne, a million golden beads of air rising. It's beautiful to see how much joy the body can hold. My friend back home would not understand me anymore. Ruby's saying now those little beads are forming. They're talking about death clubs specifically, and their mutual fascination with death and dying more generally. I'm not even sure they're like me these days. I might be too problematic. I wasn't the easiest guy to be around after the accident either. Josh admits, not for anyone who knew me before. Your ex-wife, you mean? Ruby asks, her eyebrows raised. Across the table, Josh pulls a face. Let's just say she didn't cope so well with the new me, or I stopped dealing so well with the same old her. Either way, it got messy pretty quickly. They say divorce is a kind of death, Ruby says tentatively, reaching out to touch Josh's hand across the table. That must have been tough when your world was already upside down. Josh opens his mouth, as if to say something, and then shakes his head. Yeah, he finally responds, "It wasn't great, but that's all in the past for both of us. There's nothing Ruby can add for now." She removes her hand and steers the conversation back to safer ground. "I still don't understand how nobody, Miss Alice, all this time. Why did it take so long for someone to notice she was missing? My guess is that the people who knew her best had things to hide," Josh answers. "Most people do, or maybe she just knew really shitty people." And just like that, they're back to the game, imagining my life, playing with it. Only this time he makes me mad because once again Josh has come so close to getting it right. There are people who chose to push me away, to stop, or never even try looking for me because they wanted to distance themselves from me, even after it was clear something bad had happened. But that's going to be harder now, isn't it? With my name on everyone's lip. The night is nearly over. It is the kind of date I should have liked to have had one day in Manhattan and jazz and all that electricity under the skin. I decided to play a little game of my own on behalf of everyone I've lost. Knees a nudge, more forceful this time. I take my anger at all the people who let me down and shake it. As Ruby runs her forefinger along the rim of her cocktail glass, pulls at her earlobe. Josh doesn't move, can't move his leg away from hers. Was this some kind of otherness he felt just now? I push on someone unseen. It makes sense that the guy who died and came back is the first to really feel it. I want to sit myself down in front of them, show her the nerves that flicker wherever they touch, shift her fingers from glass to his lips, say, "Here, this place is home," and I think if I whispered this to Josh just now, he might actually hear me. I try my hardest, but the words come out as a saxophone solo filling the room. "This is your night," I say it louder this time, and the curtains rustle, let go. I shout, and the candle between them flicker. My voice is music and flame and velvet now that I know how to hear it. I am everything that touches lightly, everything that lingers, less and less like limbs and hair and teeth and bone, more like air and sensation and the spark that shoots a river of blue all through a man's body. This new sensation feels like power, the ability to make the world move in my direction. After all, it is an extraordinary feeling, formidable. After being tossed about for so long, I know exactly where to take it. The man who killed me sits at home just a block or two from the river, candles flickering, night air whistling. He takes a long drag of his cigarette, watches his breath turn into spiral of smoke. He thinks of how powerful he was in that moment down by the river, and his conceit causes me to create a crack in the sky, thunder that shakes him in his chair. My sudden glorious anger fills the room. This man should be the one thinking about limbs and teeth and hair and bone, because the wind hisses, the candle flickers. All that I used to be, all that he took from a girl named Alice Lee, will soon come knocking at his door. Next day, Ruby cannot stop thinking about Josh, the man who gave her the gift of the name for her dead girl. They talked well into the night. It was 2:30 a.m. when he hailed her a cab, the light rain falling, saying goodbye. Josh leans in and kissed Ruby's damp cheek, and he stayed close as she turned her mouth towards his. I slid into her first kiss, something soft and careful and quick, but still she held her hand to her mouth the whole way home in the cab, a little giggle rising out of her, so that the driver laughed too. Said it was nice to see someone having such a good time with things. It was a good night. But what happens the next day? Had they unintentionally crossed the line, buoyed by alcohol and the rain and their strange circumstances? And would there be an inevitable retreat from each other when the sun came up? This is not supposed to be so confusing, Ruby thinks. Not at 36 years old. Josh texts to make sure she got home, a good sign. He has a message this morning. Not such a good sign. The kiss brought back butterflies. Not just a good sign, but something of a miracle, given how long those wings have remained flightless under her skin. She had no idea Josh felt that flutter. Definitely a bad sign. She's done with not knowing how Mad feels about her. She has to be. Scar tissue is never as supple as that which it replaces. Like I said before, you don't arrive in another city and actually become a brand new person. It comes with you, the habits, the surface thoughts, the fears. All that baggage comes along for the ride. Last night with Josh, right before they kissed, Ruby felt the pavement tilt beneath her. It lasted a second at most, but it was enough to feel the world was opening up, shifting at last. She had thrown her arms out wide and spun around, face turned up to the rain, a gesture she'd seen in 100 movies in 100 moments like this, and Josh had laughed, grabbed her arm to keep her steady, but really in the moment she wanted to say, "Stizzy, we both had revelations last night. There have been no grand gestures today, however, just another innocuous message from Ash. Hey, you up? She has thus far ignored. She doesn't want to tell him about the name she cannot stop saying out loud, and she can't tell him about Josh though. I wish she could. If you could see Josh and Ruby from their separate corners as they wait. People hold their longing in different places. For Josh, yearning lives in his fingertips, so that when it all gets too much, he rubs his thumbs and forefingers together to alleviate the pulse ache, or span his hands wide, crack his knuckles, and move his fingers about, whether reaching for women or words. Josh's hands gives away his desire. For Ruby, longing resides deep within her arms. It comes as a bone-dense feeling she tries to shake off by discomfort to squeeze out. Neither of them has ever really learned how to sit with this kind of intensity. Allow it to feel desire is to pursue it or to run from it, nothing in between. Ruby doesn't know Josh has been waving his fingers about, reaching for her all day. His message comes through while she is sitting, arms tightly crossed on a stoop. You have a local laundromat waiting for the dry cycle to finish. The buzz of her phone makes her jump, though she has been listening for it all day. Ruby, thank you for last night. I had a wonderful time, although the ending was a little unexpected. I feel like there's something I should have told you when it came up, so I wanted you to clear the air. I'm still married, separated, but technically married. Are you free tonight? Maybe we could talk about it in person. Ruby drops the phone and lands on the pavement with a clatter. Not even I saw that one coming. Thank you for listening.